Thanks, Chrissy. Thanks to Reed Corporate for having CZR here again. As it says on the first slide there, this is the next chapter in value creation for CZR. Just to take you back a step, I suppose, as Chrissy mentioned, we just recently sold our Robe Mesa iron ore project in the Pilbara to Rio Tinto and the Robe River joint venture partners. So, great asset, wonderful transaction for CZR. We had been working on that transaction for quite some time. For those that have followed CZR, we had a transaction originally that was held up by FIRB. Eventually, we were able to get effectively a competitive process going for that asset, which resulted in the great outcome for CZR and CZR shareholders. So $75 million cash in the bank at the moment, and we're really now looking to deploy that. We're active, we're in the field, we're drilling right now. In fact, we have a second rig arriving today at our Croydon Gold project. Just your standard disclaimers there. There we go. Okay, the CZR investment proposition. It is a very, very simple investment proposition. Current market cap approximately $86 million. We have $68 million cash in the bank. Cold hard cash. It means we have an enterprise value of only $18 million. So from a CZR perspective, we can see that there's a huge amount of value sitting within our existing asset portfolio. And we're talking about assets here that really have had little attention over the past 4 to 5 years. We were very much focused on our iron ore asset. We were able to work that project up, get it to a point where it was ready for sale and execute on that strategy. So now we're shifting our focus. We're very much going back to that resource definition style of company. So the first cab off the rank is our Croydon Gold project. Amazing location within the Malina Basin, located only 50 kilometres from the Hemi Gold discovery. So obviously that was part of the De Grey transaction with Northern Star, $5 billion transaction. So we're in the right neighbourhood. We've known that for quite some time, and we have existing gold mineralisation there already at Croydon. So it's not a greenfields opportunity. We're out there now effectively building on what we already have there at Croydon. We've also got a very, very prospective VMS deposit. We've just heard some of the other speeches talking about VMS deposits. They occur in clusters. We are right down the road from Golden Grove, which is probably the most significant VMS deposit in Australia, and also the Deflector Gold Mine as well, which is originally a VMS. It's a copper gold deposit. So we're in the right location there as well, and we've got an existing VMS system that we're going to be out there drilling shortly as well. In addition to that, we still have our iron ore assets. We sold one project to Rio and the joint venture partners, but we still hold a significant land holding in the West Pilbara. We still have our joint venture participation in our Ashburton Link export facility. So we're still active in the West Pilbara. We understand iron ore. We know what works. We know what the market expects from iron ore. So we'll continue to work those assets up and look to monetize those as well. And as you can see there, the point there as well, most of these assets, in fact, all of these assets have come into the group through Mark Creasy. So world famous prospector. He's our 51% shareholder, extremely supportive and very keen on us getting out and drilling at our Croydon Gold project. And as it says there, cashed up and ready to go again. It's a little bit dated. We're already out there. So as I mentioned, we've been drilling for a little while now at Croydon, and we've got the second rig arriving today. Capital structure, just as I mentioned before, we have a very, very simple investment proposition, and we have a very simple capital structure. $18 million enterprise value based off our current market cap and very high cash position. So we're in no need to go to the market anytime soon to do any sort of dilutive capital raising. 239 million shares on issue, nil debt as well. I'll just point out the share price chart on the right, because it does paint a little bit of a picture of what CZR has gone through over the past 12 months. At the beginning of the year, we were effectively languishing in some ways, waiting for FIRB approval for the first transaction on Robe Mesa. That didn't come through. We then entered into the transaction with Fenix Resources, which was ultimately beaten at the post by Rio Tinto, and that happened around February, March. And you can see the spike in the share price and the liquidity. We then had an extended period as we waited for that transaction to close, which it finally did 3 months ago in September. And again, you can see a little spike there, but really what set the share price moving and that liquidity moving, importantly, has been our work back out at Croydon. So because we're out there actively exploring for gold, we are a gold company now, and what we've really seen is that share price run, liquidity come up, which has been great for shareholders. Okay, so now onto the exploration side of things. So as I mentioned, we've got the Croydon Gold Project we're drilling at the moment. Next project, Butterdoo, the Edinburgh VMS, so copper, zinc, gold project, will be out there shortly as well. And I mentioned also we still retain those iron ore interests at Yarraloola. So first of all, Croydon. Wonderful location within the Mallina Basin, one of the most significant gold discoveries in the last several decades there at Hemi, 11.2 million ounces. We have an enviable land position within the Mallina Basin. We have not been out there drilling, except for right now, for 4 to 5 years. Okay, so when we last drilled, you can see some of those gold results on the Western Block. As I mentioned, this isn't greenfields work, this is existing gold system. So 27 at 3.2. 8 metres at 1.7, 2 at 22 from near surface, and so on. So we're drilling in the heart of this at the moment. Now, importantly, when this was drilled back in 2019, 2020, so really more like 5 years ago now, Hemi hadn't been discovered. So we've been able to really watch what's happened at De Grey, watch what's happened now at Northern Star, and refocus our exploration activities as a consequence. So we're looking for 2 types of mineralisation now. At the Eastern Block, we recently completed our first pass air core and surface geochem program, and we've identified some great gold targets out there as well. So we've very much got 2 fronts that we're working on. Okay, as I mentioned, we've got really 2 styles of mineralisation at Croydon. So what has been drilled historically, which is what I just showed on the previous slide, those grades, they come from a more quartz sulfide-hosted epithermal style of mineralisation. So this sits higher up. It's typically what we would see in and around these intrusions that are coming in. So when we talk about what was discovered at Hemi, the previous type of mineralisation that was mined through that area was this quartz-hosted epithermal-looking style type of mineralisation. So we know that we have that, and we are currently out drilling that at the moment. But importantly, what we're looking for is where's the engine room for this? Where is this gold coming from? We can see a huge amount of gold all through the Mallina sediments, all through our project area. But what we really also want to find is the source. De Grey were very successful with that. They obviously discovered Hemi and really understood what was driving that. So there's another intrusion just off our border as well called Taurana. Again, that was a De Grey deposit that was sitting in an intrusion. So that's when they first found these intrusion-style type of mineralisation. So we're looking for that as well. We're looking for that beneath what we already have at Top Camp and Bottom Camp, and we'll be out there drilling those targets very shortly. At Top Camp, where we're currently drilling, it's only been tested about 600 metres of strike. We're in the middle of that at the moment. Once we complete some of the initial drilling and try to understand what the orientation of that looks like, we'll then start stepping that out. We've got plans to extend the strike by over 1 kilometre, but then also we've got a large gravity and magnetic anomaly sitting beneath the known mineralisation that we're also going to be testing once this new rig gets out there today. So hopefully in the next week or so, we'll be drilling that. Bottom Camp's located only 6 kilometres from Top Camp, existing ore grade intercepts from there as well. We just finished doing the pad and track clearing yesterday, so again we'll be out there to drill that one as well in the near future. And we have other prospects, and you can see on the image there where Frank's Patch Middle Valley also sits in relation to Top Camp and Bottom Camp. But importantly, that's only a fraction of the area that's been soil sampled over on our Western Block. So we see a lot of other potential prospects within this land package, and we've really only just scratched the surface. Drilling down a bit more into Top Camp at the moment. RC drilling underway. We've completed about 8, probably since I put this slide together a few days ago, about 10 to 12 holes now. So we're about 1,500 to 2,000 metres of drilling in, really focusing on the central core of that deposit where you can just see on those images there. What we've learnt is that, and this is from going out completing field mapping as well, we've got different orientations. I heard another presenter before talking about cross-cutting structures. We're seeing these types of structures as we start to focus on the geology a bit more. We're looking at what's actually going on the ground and changing our drill programs to best hit these targets. So that's underway at the moment. We expect to be drilling there until the end of the year. I mentioned we've got a second rig going out to site today, so we're really going to be hitting this as hard as possible before we get to effectively the Christmas break and when the wet season kicks in. What we're seeing out there is exactly what we want to see as well. So we're drilling, we're seeing quartz veining, we're seeing the sulfide associated with the quartz veining, we're seeing extensive chlorite, sericite alteration coming off these zones, out of the shear zones into the host rock. So what we saw before, those grades that I posted earlier, that's the same style of mineralisation that we're seeing in the drill chips at the moment. So we're looking forward to getting these samples off to the lab in the next week or so, and in the next, call it early January, by the time they've turned around, we expect to have the first batch of assay results back from Top Camp. Bottom Camp, again, this is part of our process to build out the resource position at Croydon. So located only 6 kilometres to the north. We've just, as I mentioned, finished clearing out here. We will commence drilling out there as well. The plan is before the end of this year, but in saying that, our focus is very much on Top Camp at the moment. We'll maximise the amount of drilling that we can get done at Top Camp before shifting over to Bottom Camp. But again, this builds to the story and builds to where we want to take Croydon, which is a multi-million ounce position over time. The Eastern Block is effectively the same size as the Western Block. It had no drilling into it previously. We did first pass air core geochemistry across this, and what we found is that we've got these very, very large intrusions, and that's what we're looking for. That's what Hem is. It's a large diuretics type of intrusion which is driving a large gold system. We can see that we've got that. We've got a large hydrothermal system hanging off this as well. We've got gold mineralisation, and you can see there's some of the surface samples that we've taken over a gram. We've also got what appears to also be a VMS-style mineralisation. At Martin, you can see some of the grades: 11.6 copper, 2.8 gold. 2.8 gold. I think I've mistyped that. That should say 31 silver, 7.4 zinc. So we've got a VMS system out there as well. We've got a lot of gold, so we're going to be out here drilling this in the new year as well. I'll just step across now to our other main project, being Butterdoo. It's in another amazing location, great infrastructure, only 260 odd kilometres from Geraldton, sealed roads all the way through. Importantly, we've got Golden Grove just 45 kilometres away, one of the largest VMS deposits still operating in Australia, and the Deflector Gold Mine as well, only 10 kilometres. You can see that from our Edamurda project. So we're sitting within a cluster of VMS deposits. It's exactly where we want to be, and we have an existing VMS deposit which we're going to start drilling shortly. I was only out there last week to complete the heritage survey over approximately a 2 kilometre zone. So this was first discovered back in the 1970s at the same time as Golden Grove. It was drilled again in the 1990s, but it's had very, very, very little work since. You can see some of the grades: 3.2 at 3.8 copper, 4 at 1.5. There's also a zinc horizon through there as well. So we know that we've got a VMS deposit. The question now is, how big can it be and how high grade can it be? So we completed a EM survey in the middle of this year, and we were very pleased to see that we've got some very high conductance plates from the moving loop EM survey. These have effectively never been tested before. The image on the right that you can see shows those EM conductor plates, but the image underneath shows the surface geochemistry as well. So the more green colours are the copper-rich surface samples, and the orangey yellow colours are the more zinc-rich zones. So that really highlights the difference that we have with these more zinc-rich lodes and copper-gold-rich lodes. So the heritage survey that we completed out there recently, we have approximately 11 holes, 3,000 metres of RC drilling to go into those conductor plates. The image on the top right that you can see, that's an orthogonal view, so 3D view looking down. You can see a lot of the previous drilling just simply didn't intersect the plates. So we're talking about work that was done in the 70s and early 90s. They just simply didn't have the same sorts of technology that we've got now. So this is a very exciting prospect for us. The fact that we're able to go out and drill a known VMS deposit in a VMS district with some of the largest operating mines in Australia. So the plan is that once we get all of our approvals in place, we'll be out there drilling this into the new year. So please expect to see some news flow starting to come out from this prospect. Lastly is Yarraloola. So as I mentioned, we sold our Robe Mesa iron ore mine to Rio and the joint venture partners at Robe Valley for $75 million. It's an area that we know extremely well. We know what type of iron ore works in the market. We know where the value sits. So we still hold a huge land holding through Yarraloola. You can see in the blue there is the tenements that we still hold. We only sold a very, very small part of what we previously held. So there's still a very large land position. The intention there is once we get our heritage approvals in place, we'll be out there drilling as well and rapidly moving that towards resource definition. As I mentioned, we've still got our joint venture in the port development company, and then really looking to monetise this asset again as well. So just back to the investment proposition. Again, I'll just reiterate, it is a very simple investment proposition. CZR is very unique. We have $68 million in the bank. We have an enterprise value of only $18 million, so extremely leveraged to exploration success. And we've seen that as we've started exploring, the share price has started moving as a consequence. We've got a great set of assets that have all come out of Mark Creasy's stable. We are completely cashed up and drilling these, so expect to have some very regular news flow coming into New Year. So thank you very much for your time, and come and see me at the booth.